The galaxy was old and proud. It had burned for millions of years. Great alien empires ruled the stars with iron fleets and cold logic. They believed survival belonged only to the strongest minds and the hardest machines. Mercy was seen as weakness. Emotion was seen as a flaw. Among these empires lived a lesser race, scattered across a dying edge of space. They were not important. They were not feared. They were barely noticed. Their name appeared in records only as a footnote. Humans. To the galaxy, humans were loud, divided, and fragile. Short lives. Weak bodies. Too much emotion. They fought each other more than the stars. No empire believed they would matter. Far from human space, on a crystal world called Valor, an alien observer watched the end of everything. Valor was a world of order. Perfect cities. Calm skies. No hunger. No war for centuries. Pain had been removed from life. Then the darkness came. It did not arrive with warning. No fleet. No signal. The stars near Valor began to fade, one by one, as if something was eating the light itself. Gravity bent. Time stuttered. Machines failed without reason. The alien empires argued. They delayed. They trusted their systems too much. Valor burned. The sky cracked open with storms of black fire. Cities fell in silence. Defense grids collapsed like paper. Millions vanished in seconds. No screams reached space. Only dust and broken orbitals remained. The observer survived by chance. A deep shelter. A closed system. When the shaking stopped, the world was gone. Only ruins and ash remained. For the first time in his life, the observer felt fear. Not the clean fear of numbers and risk. But raw fear. Loss without meaning. Pain without order. He sent warnings to the galaxy. Short reports. Cold data. No emotion. The empires dismissed it. They said Valor was weak. They said it was a local failure. They said the threat would fade. They laughed at the idea of a force that could not be measured. Some blamed humans. Humans had explored strange regions. Humans touched dangerous space. Humans always brought chaos. But no one truly believed humans were the cause. They were too small. Too broken. Too unimportant. The observer fled with refugees. What few survived. Their ships moved toward the core worlds, seeking help. Behind them, the darkness spread. As systems fell, panic grew. Alien fleets gathered, confident and proud. They prepared grand formations and perfect plans. They trusted their math. The observer studied old records during the flight. He searched for anything about survival through collapse. Anything about fighting the unknown. He found something strange. Human history. It was full of loss. Plagues. Wars. Broken worlds. Failed colonies. Extinction-level events. Again and again, humans faced death. Again and again, they endured. They did not remove pain. They learned from it. The observer did not understand why this data was ignored. Humans had survived things that destroyed better species. Yet the galaxy still mocked them. As the refugee fleet reached the edge of the war zone, sensors screamed. Something massive moved in the dark ahead. Alien fleets froze. Orders failed. The threat was closer than predicted. Then another signal appeared. Not alien. Not hostile. Not large. A single vessel. Silent. Human design. It was decloaking at the edge of the battlefield. The observer watched in confusion as the human ship drifted forward alone. No escorts. No retreat path. And for the first time since Valor died, the galaxy stopped laughing. The human warship moved slowly through the dark. It was smaller than the alien flagships. Its hull looked old and worn. Plates showed scars from past battles. To the alien fleets, it looked weak. Sensors scanned the ship again and again. No advanced weapons were detected. No massive energy build-up. No sign of fear or retreat. Just silence. The alien commanders observed from a safe distance. They did not change their formations. They did not give the human ship importance. Some even marked it as irrelevant. The observer from Valor watched closely. He felt something was wrong. The human ship did not behave like others. It did not wait for orders. It did not ask for permission. Behind the fleets, the darkness continued to grow. Stars bent and vanished inside it. Entire defense lines collapsed in seconds. Alien ships tried to escape. Many failed. Panic spread through command networks. Perfect plans broke apart. Cold logic failed under chaos. The galaxy had never fought something that did not follow rules. The human ship kept moving forward. Straight toward the danger. Alone. Alien sensors finally detected activity inside the vessel. Power was being rerouted. Non-essential systems were shut down. Life support was reduced to minimum levels. The ship was preparing for damage, not survival. This confused the aliens. Why would a species accept pain before it arrived? Why would they weaken themselves on purpose? Records were pulled from archives. Human war doctrine was reviewed. Most of it was dismissed long ago. Too emotional. Too reckless. Too wasteful of life. Yet one pattern appeared again and again. Humans did not stop when systems failed. They did not retreat when logic said retreat. They replaced machines with will. The observer remembered Valor. A world that trusted perfection. A world that had no backup plan for failure. It broke in seconds. The human ship entered the edge of the dark zone. Space twisted around it. Energy readings spiked. Hull temperature rose beyond safe limits. Any alien ship would have turned back. This one did not. The first impact hit without warning. A wave of force smashed into the vessel. Armor cracked. External sensors went dark. The ship slowed. Alien commanders marked it as destroyed. They turned their attention back to saving themselves. The human ship was written off. Then it moved again. Damaged thrusters ignited. Internal power surged through broken paths. The ship changed course slightly, adapting. Not following a plan. But responding. The observer felt unease grow. This was not bravery. This was refusal. The darkness reacted. It focused on the human ship. As if sensing resistance. Space screamed as forces collided. More damage followed. Entire sections were lost. Radiation poured through the hull. Still the ship advanced. Alien fleets watched in silence now. Laughter was gone. Confidence faded. They were witnessing something unfamiliar. A species that did not expect to survive. A ship that was never meant to return. A decision made long before the battle began. The observer realized the truth too late. Humans did not come to win safely. They came because someone had to stand in the dark. As the human warship pushed deeper, a massive energy spike formed ahead. Something inside the darkness began to respond. The sensors screamed again. Not from alien fleets, but from the threat itself. The human ship had been noticed, and the darkness was about to strike back. The darkness answered the challenge. It shifted and twisted. Not like a storm, but like a living thing learning. The space around the human ship collapsed inward. Gravity surged without pattern. Time signals fractured. Alien sensors failed completely. The human warship was caught at the center. A force struck it from all sides. Armor plates tore away. Entire sections vanished into nothing. From the alien perspective, the result was clear. No ship could survive that. No crew could endure such damage. The galaxy marked the human vessel as lost. The observer from Valor did not look away. He had seen destruction before. He knew what death looked like. This felt different. Inside the human ship, systems were failing fast. Power grids burned out. Navigation collapsed. Automated controls shut down one by one. Alien logic said this was the end. No redundancy remained. No safe margin existed. Survival probability dropped near zero. Yet the ship did not stop. Internal energy rerouted again. Paths that should not exist carried power. Manual overrides replaced broken automation. Human design allowed failure without surrender. The darkness pressed harder, as if angered by resistance. Waves of distortion ripped through the hull. Radiation flooded the ship's core. Alien fleets pulled back in fear. They watched from a distance. Silent now. No laughter remained. The human ship burned as it moved. Hull temperature exceeded limits. Structural warnings meant nothing anymore. The vessel adapted its shape mid-motion. The observer noticed something strange. The ship was not following a fixed plan. Each movement reacted to damage. Pain was shaping behavior. Alien species avoided pain. They removed it from biology and machines. They saw it as failure. Humans treated it as information. Another massive strike hit the warship. A section near the core was torn open. Energy bled into space. Any other species would abandon the vessel. The human ship reduced life support again. Cut more systems. Sacrificed comfort. Sacrificed safety. It was not trying to survive. It was trying to continue. The darkness attempted to consume the ship fully. Energy streams wrapped around the hull, trying to pull it apart, trying to erase it. The human vessel responded by pushing forward. Thrusters fired at unsafe levels. Structural limits were ignored. The ship screamed through space. Alien commanders began to panic. This was not bravery they understood. This was not logic they trusted. This was obsession. The observer felt something he had not felt since Valor fell. Hope mixed with fear. A dangerous kind of hope. The human ship reached a critical zone. The center of the distortion. Where the darkness was strongest. Where no alien craft had survived. Energy readings spiked beyond scale. Sensors overloaded. The darkness reacted violently. Then something changed. The human ship altered its power output. Not to defend. Not to escape. But to engage. The darkness hesitated. As if confused. as if it had never faced something that refused to retreat. The observer realized the truth. The galaxy had misjudged humanity, not because humans were stronger, but because they did not know when to stop. As the human warship crossed a final threshold, all alien sensors went blind. A blinding surge filled the battlefield. And for a moment, no one knew if the human ship still existed, or if it had finally been erased. The darkness surged inward, preparing a final strike, and the galaxy waited to see if humanity would break. When the sensors came back online, the battlefield looked wrong. Space itself was damaged. Lines of gravity bent like broken glass. The human warship was still there. Barely. Its hull was torn open. Large sections were gone. Internal lights flickered like dying stars. By every known measure, the ship should have been dead. Alien fleets watched in stunned silence. No orders were given. No formations held. This outcome had never existed in their calculations. The darkness pressed closer. It surrounded the human vessel. Energy folded inward, preparing to crush what remained. Inside the ship, almost nothing worked. Automatic systems were gone. Artificial control was useless. Only basic functions remained. Yet the ship moved. Not smoothly. Not cleanly. But with stubborn force. Power surged through exposed conduits. Circuits sparked and burned. The vessel adjusted its path again, responding to damage instead of avoiding it. Alien observers finally understood. This ship was not fighting to survive. It was fighting to deny the darkness victory. The observer from Valor felt something tighten inside him. His people had relied on perfection, on flawless systems and endless safety. They had broken the moment reality changed. Humans were different. They were born into unstable worlds, raised under constant threat. Their history was not peace. It was recovery. The darkness struck again. A focused wave hit the ship's core. Energy levels spiked beyond tolerance. Structural collapse became inevitable. The human vessel responded in a way no alien expected. Instead of pulling back power, it pushed harder. Thrusters ignited beyond safe limits. Reactor output climbed into failure zones. The ship burned itself alive to stay moving. Alien commanders panicked. They believed this was madness. No species would choose destruction over retreat. But humans did not see it as a choice. The ship's trajectory shifted slightly. Not away from danger, but deeper into it. The darkness reacted violently. Distortions intensified. Energy surged unpredictably. The force that had destroyed worlds was being challenged. The observer realized the truth. Humans did not fear death the way others did. They feared leaving something unfinished. The warship reached the inner boundary of the threat. A region no alien craft had entered and returned from. Space screamed under pressure. Time readings lost meaning. The ship slowed. Then steadied. Against all logic. Against all probability, it held its course. Alien fleets detected a strange pattern forming. The darkness was reacting, not attacking blindly, but adjusting. For the first time, the cosmic force was being forced to respond. The human warship had done the impossible. It had survived long enough to matter. As energy built to catastrophic levels, a new configuration began inside the human vessel. Not defensive. Not offensive. Something else entirely? Alien sensors struggled to interpret it. Their systems could not predict the outcome. The observer felt a cold realization. This was not the end of the human ship. This was the beginning of something irreversible. As the darkness gathered its full strength for a final crushing blow, the human warship prepared an action no alien science could understand. And the galaxy held its breath, knowing that whatever happened next, nothing would ever be the same. Energy built inside the human warship. Not in clean lines. Not in controlled patterns. But in unstable waves. Alien sensors struggled to read it. The output did not match any known weapon. It did not follow efficiency rules. It looked dangerous even to the ship itself. The darkness sensed the change. Space tightened around the vessel. Gravity surged inward, trying to crush the ship before it could act. The human warship did not resist. It accepted the pressure, redirected it, used it. Structural limits shattered. Internal compartments collapsed. The ship lost what little protection remained. Still the core burned brighter. Alien fleets watched in disbelief. This was not strategy. This was endurance taken to its limit. The observer from Valor understood at last. Humans did not seek balance. They pushed past it. The darkness struck with full force. A wave strong enough to erase moons. It wrapped around the human ship, trying to end the resistance forever. For a moment, the warship vanished inside the distortion. Alien commanders marked the battle as lost. Then space exploded outward. The energy released did not destroy. It folded, collapsed, pulled the darkness into itself. The human ship had turned the threat's own force inward. Using overload instead of control. Sacrifice instead of safety. The cosmic entity screamed through space. Its structure destabilized. Its endless hunger trapped by its own power. Alien fleets felt the pull. Ships struggled to escape the growing collapse. Sensors overloaded again. At the center, the human warship broke apart. Whole fragments scattered. Systems finally went silent. The observer felt his hope die. Then something impossible happened. The collapse stabilized. The darkness stopped spreading. Its energy locked in a shrinking field. Contained. As the light faded, a signal appeared. Weak. Human. The warship still existed. Reduced to a drifting wreck. Barely functional. But alive. Alien fleets froze. No cheers. No commands. Only stunned silence. One human ship had done what thousands of alien vessels could not. Not by overpowering the threat, but by refusing to stop fighting it. The observer felt something change inside him. The galaxy had measured strength wrong for too long. As the battlefield cleared, sensors confirmed the truth. The war was over. Not because the humans were strongest, but because they endured longest. The damaged human warship drifted at the center of space. A broken symbol. Still present. Then a final signal began to form. Slow. Unstable. A transmission from the human vessel. And every alien empire prepared to listen. Knowing the galaxy had crossed a point of no return. The transmission spread across every fleet. Across every empire. Across worlds that still burned. It was not a threat. It was not a demand. It was proof of survival. The signal was weak, unstable, but human. The damaged warship drifted at the center of the sealed darkness. Its hull broken. Its systems barely alive. Yet it remained. Alien fleets kept their distance. No weapons were raised. No ships advanced. Fear had replaced command. The observer from Valor watched in silence. He remembered his world. Perfect and calm. Gone in seconds. The human ship should not exist. By every rule of the galaxy, it should have failed. But humans did not live by those rules. Scans of the containment field confirmed the impossible. The cosmic threat was no longer spreading. Its energy locked in on itself. Stable. Imprisoned. Alien scientists could not explain it. Their models collapsed. Their theories broke. The war had ended without victory parades. Without celebration. Only shock. Reports spread fast. A single human warship. No escort. No retreat. Had forced the universe to stop. Humanity was no longer ignored. Galactic records were rewritten. Human classification changed. From insignificant to unpredictable to dangerous under pressure. The observer realized the truth. The galaxy had never defeated humans before, because it had never truly tested them. Humans were born on unstable worlds. They lived with storms, quakes, wars, loss. Pain was not removed from their lives. It shaped them. Alien empires had chased safety. They built perfection, and broke when it failed. Humans built backups for failure, and backups for those backups. Not in machines, but in will. Recovery ships finally approached the human vessel. Slow, careful, respectful. They found survivors. Exhausted. Injured. Still working. The ship was dying. But it had not surrendered. The observer felt something close to shame. His people had trusted silence and comfort. Humans trusted endurance. Messages spread through the galaxy. Warnings passed between empires. Never corner humans. Never assume they will retreat. Never believe destruction will make them stop. Because when humans lose everything, they do not collapse. They adapt. The sealed darkness remained as a scar in space. A reminder of what almost ended the galaxy. And what stopped it. Human space filled with new signals. Not demands. Not boasts. Just presence. The galaxy listened now. From that day forward, alien fleets changed formation when humans arrived. Councils paused before dismissing human input. And laughter disappeared from the records. The observer looked at the drifting warship one last time. A broken hull. A fading light. Still there. He understood the final lesson too late for his world. But in time for the galaxy. Humans were not the strongest. They were not the most advanced. They were the ones who refused to quit. And the universe would never make the mistake of mocking them again.